All right, so good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Vassal Labs World Environment Day special webinar on digital public infrastructure for agriculture's India's next growth engine. So my name is Susan Matthew. I'm the AVP product for agriculture at Vassal Labs, and I will be the host of today's webinar. Over the past decade, India has demonstrated how digital public infrastructure can transform entire sectors through platforms such as Aadhaar, UPI, and DigiLocker. Today, agriculture stands at a similar inflection point. As climate variability increases and the demand for precision, efficiency, and inclusion grows, agriculture requires interoperable digital systems that can connect farmers, government institutions, and service providers through trusted data and intelligence. Over the recent years, we have seen the country also take significant steps towards creating such platforms, both at state and national levels. At Vassal Labs, we have also been working at the intersection of AI, geospatial intelligence, and climate technology, partnering with governments and institutions to build digital infrastructure for agriculture, water resource management, and disaster resilience. Through platforms such as Fieldwise, we have been focused on enabling data-driven decision-making and scalable agriculture service delivery in states such as Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, and more. But today, we are privileged to hear perspectives from policy leaders, researchers, technology experts, and DPI practitioners who are actively shaping this transformation. Before we begin, I would like to warmly welcome our distinguished panelists who have joined us today, taking their precious time to impart their wise words and information to us. So I'll briefly introduce everyone and then give a detailed introduction. Firstly, we have Mr. Rajesh Krishnan from the Department of Agriculture, Government of Kerala, bringing valuable perspectives from government digital agriculture initiatives. Then we are delighted to have Mr. Neeraj Haddar, Product Manager at GTM Lead at Google and former resident fellow at Niti Aayog. We have Mr. Nikhil Gupta, Head of AI and DPI Products, and one of the key leaders driving large-scale digital public infrastructure initiatives, including AgriStack. We are also joined with Dr. C.S. Murthy, former director of MNCFC and a respected expert in geospatial and digital agriculture, currently advising several agri-tech organizations and startups. We welcome Dr. Jella Satyanarayana, project head of SBI Arisa Lab at AgHub, PGTAU, who brings valuable implementation experience in translating agricultural innovation into real-world impact. And we'll also have from IIT Dharwad is Professor K.V. Jayakumar, Senior Adjunct Professor and Policy Advisor with extensive experience in water resource, climate resilience, and sustainable development. Thank you all for joining us today. We are privileged to have such an accomplished panel and look forward to highly insightful discussions. Now we'll be hearing insights from each of the speakers, and then I will open the floor to questions from the audience. All right. So firstly, I'd like to hear from Mr. Rajesh. So a little bit about Mr. Rajesh Krishnan. He serves as the Deputy Manager of Information Technology with the Department of Agriculture, Government of Kerala, where he plays a key role in driving the digital transformation of the agriculture sector in Kerala. With a multidisciplinary background spanning agriculture, agrometeorology, climate resilience, and agriculture informatics, he has been actively involved in designing and implementing technology-enabled solutions that enhance the service delivery to farmers and strengthen agriculture governance. He brings a unique perspective that combines domain knowledge in agriculture with practical experience in information technology and public sector innovation. So, Mr. Rajesh, Kerala started its DPI making before, even the central initiatives like Bharat Vistar. So can you tell us some of your state level perspectives of building digital agriculture ecosystems from your experience?
Okay, thank you, Susan, for the introduction. From the
I think we have a little bit of internet issues. Mr. Rajesh, can you hear us? I think he's coming. Let's give him a few more seconds, else we'll move on to the next speaker and then come back to him. Okay, I think in the interest of time, then as Mr. Rajesh resolves his IT issues. Mr. Rajesh, can you hear us now? Okay, I'll move on. We'll come back to Mr. Rajesh shortly. So I'll move on to Mr. Neeraj Haddad from Google. So Neeraj is a product manager and GTM lead for DPI at Google and previously served as a resident fellow at Niti Aayog, setting up the Frontier Tech Hub. His work spans digital transformation, AI adoption, ecosystem development, and technology-led public initiatives. Neeraj, we have seen the AI and Gen AI boom across industries, especially in like content creation, customer support, media, and more, where Google has also played a very key role. What do you see now as the role of AI in enabling successful agriculture DPI, especially in India?
Sure. First of all, thank you, Susan, and thank you, Anjali, and the broader Vasara Labs team for organizing this very, very relevant and pertinent webinar. That today on the occasion of World Environment Day. So it's really I'm glad to be part of this. But I think it would actually have been very helpful to have Mr. Rajesh's comments on DPI in agriculture as a whole before jumping into the AI aspect. So I think that already did make a lot of sense. But let me get this going, and let's hear from Mr. Rajesh soon. I think a couple of things, right? First of all, I think I want to start with something I will borrow from Dr. Jayakumar's LinkedIn post from just today morning, which was about that, on World Environment Day, I don't want to talk about protecting the environment. I want to talk about a world in which the environment doesn't need protection. And I think that's a very, very, I don't know who said this. I'm giving credit to Dr. Jayakumar's LinkedIn post. Maybe many other people have said this. I think it is so relevant. I think if you think of it in the Uber picture, none of us here in this room or all of us put together are of any match to try and protect the environment. I think we have all tasked ourselves with an almost impossible task. I think it is really about how do you create a world where environment protection isn't a different line item, it isn't a different horizontal or a different vertical. It should be so deeply ingrained in everything we do in our personal and professional lives that you don't have to plan for it separately. But I want to just extend that thinking, bring it back into agriculture, and connect that with what role AI can play there. Which is if you think of environment in the context of agriculture, I think environment will not need protection if you solve for the farmer, right? At the end of the day, I think the farmer is a very smart individual. The farmer understands that it is their land, which is the source of their livelihood, and it is their land which is serving millions of people. So if the farmer had the right options and easy ways of making the right choices, the farmer wouldn't want to intentionally damage their land and harm the environment and so on and so forth. So the way I see the role that AI plays in DPI for agriculture, and I'll let Mr. Rajesh talk about how DPI can truly solve for agriculture. But the role I see AI playing there is really to say, how do you put the farmer at the center? Right? How do you put the farmer at the center and think about everything, every technology intervention, every AI intervention, while the farmer is at the center. Now, throughout the seed to sale or beach to bazaar, as our honorable PM likes to call it, throughout that process, there are multiple different things that a farmer needs. Right? The farmer wants to buy inputs like seeds and fertilizers. The farmer wants to take care of their crop. They want access to, say, a bank loan. They want to apply for government schemes. They want to eventually sell their produce in the market. Maybe on the way, if they face some hardships, they want access to insurance claims and so on and so forth, right? Now, throughout this entire journey, there are tons of different offices, stakeholders, or even in the digital world, tons of different apps that a farmer may have to run to for this. And while we say this, we should also not forget that the farmer is not only a farmer. The farmer is also an individual who has their family to take care of, who has other aspirations and so on. So that's a farmer is not different from the individual who is a farmer. So how do you bring all of these things in one place? By putting the farmer at the center. And I think AI plays a huge role here, because while there is a lot of effort going on, as we speak, there are probably 7,000, 8,000 different AgTechs. It's an old number now, I think. So probably there's even a higher number of AgTechs that exist in the country. Several hundreds of them are well funded. All of them are trying to essentially go behind the same farmer. So now, in addition to physical offices and physical stakeholders, there are also tons of different apps that a farmer could go to. So I think where AI can play a very critical role here is let the farmer ask for whatever the farmer needs. And with the power of DPI, let the right offers, let the relevant offers get surfaced to the farmer. So I think that is one huge impact that AI can have. And I think what it can do, which brings me kind of to the second point, is point number one, you put the farmer at the center. Point number two is now how do you make it as easy as possible for the farmer? And again, there, through voice, through using their own language, without having to navigate a complicated app, without having to navigate physical offices, etc. Can the farmer do all this in one place without having to worry about the 20,000 different options that may exist for the farmer? So I think that is where AI plays a very, very important role. I think the third piece I would say here is this is a complex ecosystem. It's very easy for me to say that, hey, let's put the farmer at the center and we have solved the problem. So there are a lot of different bridges that need to be built between the farmer, between the various buyers and sellers, between the various different stakeholders, the government, and so on and so forth. And I think that is a third piece where AI has a disproportionate role to play in enabling this entire ecosystem communicate with every stakeholder in a more seamless way. I think the last piece I'll say before I pause is I think the role of the government is really, really massive. Right? I think lot of what the agriculture ecosystem does for the country as a whole is, for the common citizen, is often taken for granted because things work very smoothly. And I think the government has a huge role to play in that. So the last piece I want to kind of talk about is how can AI be used to make the government's work easy? Now, what has happened in the past decade or two is that there is a lot more data that can be captured. There are a lot more dashboards, a lot more analytics, a lot more information that can be made available to various government officers. I think it is probably reaching the point where almost every question that a government officer may have can be answered with data. Maybe there are a few that can't. But finding the right data at the right time, in the right urgency, may not always be straightforward. And I think this is another place where AI has a huge role to play. Instead of having to struggle with tons of dashboards and tons of analytics, can a government officer simply ask a question that, yeah, I want to compare the yield of a particular crop between two districts, or I want to assess what a recent heavy rainfall that happened, what kind of damage it has done in various districts or in various blocks. Can the government officer just ask that question? Let AI do the hard work of pulling the right insight, putting the right information, and showing it back to the government officer along with actually a level of confidence. Right? This is where I am 90% sure, but these are probably 2-3 things which you might want to verify through your field force. Just to summarize, I think the 4 things that kind of stand out in my mind where AI can play a role is, number one, really anything that gets designed for agriculture, how do you put farmer at the center? Number two, how do we make it more seamless for the farmer to access whatever the ecosystem is building for the farmer? Number three, how do we bring more effective bridges between the various stakeholders that exist in the ecosystem? And lastly, how do we really make the government officers' work as easy as possible in giving them direct insights that can make more data-based decisions with a higher confidence level possible? I'll pause there and I look forward to hearing other comments.
Thanks a lot, Neeraj. Would love to ask more questions, but I'll wait for that, after everyone's spoken. Mr. Rajesh, do you have connectivity now? Can you hear us?
I hope I'm audible for you. And sorry for the interruption happened. Was a total power failure here. It's a rainy season here, so you won't get the mobile networks also working in these days. When we look at the scenario of Kerala, like I have started earlier, the scenario is totally different from the other parts of the India, where you will get enough large, vast agricultural lands. Kerala, the agricultural fields are that much fragmented that the per capita holding of lands in Kerala is almost 1.14 hectare. So that much fragmented land makes the government to think in another way when we approach the farmers. Of course, there is no definition to farmers in Kerala also. So anyone who is cultivating in a half sense of land, that is 20 square meters of land, can also be considered as a farmer. That's a big question for us also. And who are actually holding more than 4 hectares of land are considered as plantation farmers, and the policy, the schemes for those farmers are entirely different. So government being, looking at the welfare point of view, have to consider the both category of farmers. So when we try to approach the farmers in a more digitalized way, like we are approaching the farmers in a more smarter way, where we force them to use more digital advisory systems, digital support, decision support systems, things become more difficult in the sense that adopting a digitalized system, a system based on AI, does not make them cost effective to apply in their very small particular land holding. So that is where government come in, where government have to supply these technology to the farmers, so that the cost behind the use of those technology, we have a large number of technologies which are based on AI, machine learning, which are available even by the small startups also, where it can be applied to the small farms owned by a single farm. When we come to the resolution of a state, it becomes more difficult for the farmers who are holding the 0.14 hectares of land to adopt an AI technology to monitor this. That is where government actually looked into the matter, that whether government can give the farmers a more improvised digital services based on AI and other data-based solutions. And another part is that agriculture is a sector where the data sets are not that much digitalized. Of course, in Kerala also the major data sets were not digitalized. So bringing or building a model based on the artificial intelligence, you need, of course, data sets. Still in the archived form in many even government agencies or private vendors also. So we actually formalized a project called Kadir, or the Agriculture Data Hub in Kerala, which is the pioneer to the Bharat Vistar, which is actually going on today, which brings in the pest forewarning systems, the agri stack, and all those things. We have actually conceptualized this thing pretty earlier. And this system, what we are trying to do is that we give the advisories or the decision support to the farmers based on the data which is being kept at the godowns of various agriculture departments. When we talk about the fact that bringing data together, bringing the data related to the farmers to a common platform, it sounds easy, but the actual fact is that people keep data in their godowns as their own assets. They don't allow people to bring the data to a common platform. They always question what is the purpose, what is the effects. So wherever there is not a pioneer in a model which is existing in the state, it becomes difficult for you to convince them that the data set will be used for the benefit of the farmers. But still, we have successfully brought many data sets into the Kadir platform, or the Kerala Agriculture Digital Hub platform, where we uses the different models to run the pest forewarning systems, where now currently many farmers, at least I think 13 lakh farmers of the farmers in Kerala are being provided with the pest forewarning advisories, irrigation advisories, weather advisories automatically supplied to them. We have a smartphone penetration of over 90% in Kerala, which is a good symbol that such kind of a digital platforms can be more penetrated into the farmer community of Kerala. The fiber connectivity is pretty good in Kerala, where all panchayats of Kerala are digitized. The remote place in Kerala, the Idamalakudi Panchayat, is 4 kilometers deep into the forest. In Kerala is also being connected with the fiber internet system. So which means that Kerala has a good connectivity to supply these digital services into the farmers who are in the remote locations also. Also, the common service center being established in the state, along with the state common service center system called Akshaya, which ensures that in each village, at least 2 common service centers are present, so that the citizens can approach the Akshaya centers to get the digital services supplied by the government by them. And Qadar is not kind of a platform which forces the farmer to approach the Akshaya and get the services. Qadar has its own web platform and a mobile platform, where the kind of advisories are being automatically supplied to the farmers. And the satellite data is being analyzed by the models developed by the Vasal Labs, which gives a good results of how much area of crop is being cultivated in Kerala. This is the case of 6 crops actually they have developed now: the rice, sugarcane, pineapple, tea, rubber. So that kind of a crops are more being cultivated as a monocrop in Kerala. So we are in a condition that apart from collecting the ground data as figures from the field officers, by observing the satellite data, we are correctly declaring that this much area of crop is cultivated in the state. What is the state of that crop, whether the crop is healthy or not, whether it is been affected by drought or not, whether any pest is actually spreading in some particular areas. So the policymakers in the directorate or the government can easily identify that this much quantity of crop is going to be get harvested in this much time of the season, which means that the procurement systems are actually being set up using the estimation done by the system. So which means that the decision support is not only for the farmer, the decision support is actually there for the policymakers in the state by these systems, which we can act in a proactive manner to assist the farmers. So we are actually in the initial phase of being reaching the farmers of Kerala. We have only some 13 lakh farmers registered in Qadar as of now. We are expecting to have 40 lakhs of farmers, 40 lakhs of farmers to be onboarded in Qadar. Whoever farmers who have onboarded in Qadar are actually looking well at the advisories being supplied to them, particularly because the proactive pest forewarning is the most relevant thing which we can do to the farmer, because the pest infestations are hardly affecting the yield right now. The climate change has actually shifted the cycles of pests in the field, so which means that the traditional calendar for the pests which recurrent occurring of pests, which is being addressed by Qadar. Am I audible?
We lost you for the last 10 seconds, I think, but now you are. Mr. Rajesh, maybe you can switch off your camera. It might help with your internet bandwidth, actually, and continue. So can you hear us? Monsoon times in Kerala are very heavy, I can attest. And that does cause power outrage, no matter how good the connectivity across the state, as Mr. Rajesh was saying.
Only
We'll-
monsoon started there. Monsoon setting.
Yeah. All right. So, Rajesh, so do you want to, do you have enough, do you have connection? Do you want to conclude? No worries. We'll move on in the interest of time to Professor K.V. Jayakumar. Professor, are you there?
Yes, are there.
Hi, Professor. Hi, Professor.
Hello.
So, so I'll just give a brief introduction about yourself. So, Professor Jayakumar is a distinguished academician, policy advisor, and former executive director of CWRDM, with over 3 decades of experience in water resources, climate adaptation, GIS applications, environment management, and institutional leadership. He currently serves as visiting professor and outreach advisor at IIT Dharwad and is a member of the governing body of Wetlands International South Asia. So, Professor, can you shed some light on the research, innovation, in digital infrastructure for agriculture?
Yeah, anyway, let me greet you all on the World Environment Day 2026. I'll just quickly go through my presentation and then we will have some discussion. Okay, I'll present my. Is my presentation visible? Is my presentation visible?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll spend first couple of slides on the World Environment Day and then go to the agricultural aspects. Now, when the World Environment Day was decided to be celebrated, observed in the year 1972, one so that's what has been going on, and this is one thing I posted this morning, which I like very much. I don't want to protect the environment. I want to create a world where the environment doesn't need protection. So that's what I posted this morning. So you find in the universe are billions of galaxies. In our galaxy are billions of planets, but there'll be one Earth. Let us take care of it. That's what we start with. World Environment Day. This is a slogan in 1970, as I said. 50 years later, our lands on this blue planet and the sun's place about are more evident than ever. So only one Earth emphasizes that time is running out, people and nature back into balance. That is another thing that we saw. Kill me not. So with so many aspects, global warming, rising sea levels, depleting coal mines, desertification, sandstorms, drying ovals, extinction of flora and fauna, melting snow mountain, forest fires, so many are what's affected the Earth. Now, this was a picture. Since I work in water resource, I'll spend just a couple of minutes on the availability of water across the world. This picture was prepared in the year 1999 when we entered the new millennium to project how much water would be there by 2025. Now, we look at this map. This dark color shows that there is low amount of water, catastrophically low amount of water. Lighter shade shows there is enough water. So the amount of water required per person per year, including agriculture, is about 1,000 cubic meters per year per capita. So any place which has got less than 1,000 cubic meters per year is considered to be catastrophically low water. So this map was not accepted by many parts of the world because this was based on the average value. Now this was corrected a little later, and then this map shows this is by the International Water Management Institute at Sri Lanka at Colombo. This shows the western part of India is having physical water scarcity. The eastern part of the country has moderate need for water development. And you find all the blue color shows there is moderate need for water development, and all the yellow and red are places where there is physical water scarcity and economic water scarcity. This was again corrected, and you see our country, India. India is in two categories, two colors. Red shows physical water scarcity. Physically, water is not available to meet our demands. And the yellow color, the coastal areas, including Northeast, they have economic water scarcity. Water is available, but no money to develop. And you find the whole of South America, South Africa, the whole of Gulf has a similar problem. And this map was produced in 2013. It shows what is the amount of the status of water availability. Now, in this map shows India is in one color. It says it is between water scarcity. India is in this range, stress and water vulnerability. Now it's accepted that India is a water stress vulnerable country. So this was in 2013, and then most of the activities take place based on the map. This looks that the whole of America is having plenty of water. Australia is plenty of water. Many parts of Africa are reasonably okay. The whole of Russia and Europe, many parts are okay. So that is what is now accepted. Now, based on the past studies, it has been projected in for future. Now you find that if India and then continuing towards the west, including many parts of Europe, and then also the western part of US. So this is area which has got very high water stress. And then there's another map prepared by 2050 which shows that India is going to have extremely high water stress. So this is, these are some of the projected ratio of water demand to water availability for 2050. So it shows that country like India is going to water stress, and we'll have to take care of our needs. Now some water consumption maps, I think you skip this. Now we also look at the droughts in our country. The Assam Northeast area is rare, very rare, once in 15 years. West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh, Konkan, coastal Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Kerala, we are once in 5 years on average. South Interior Karnataka, East Uttar Pradesh, Vidarbha, Gujarat, East Rajasthan, Rayalaseema, AP and Telangana once in 4 years. Western Rajasthan once in 2.5 years. So this is based on the past 100 years of record. What is the recurrence period of deficit rainfall, which is a drought affected region. Now, when you get drought, you have meteorological drought, hydrological drought, agriculture drought, and socio-economic drought. And all these lead to agriculture loss and economic loss. And due to climate change, it is increased temperature, the global warming, greenhouse effects, change in precipitation patterns. Precipitation means intensity, frequency, and magnitude of floods and drought changes, rise in sea levels. And you just see a map that shows the global mean temperature increasing. And there's a sea level change, all projected up to 2100. And the carbon dioxide concentration is also shown. Now, coming back to what is happening in our country. We urbanize very fast, which creates lots of problem for the water sector. The rate at which you urbanize is not, and the rate at which the infrastructure develops the urbanization, they don't match. So if you look at this map, in 1991 to 2030, in 91, 26% of India's population was an urban area. And in 2030, 40% of India is going to be in urban area, which means a lot of problems are going to come because we are not ready to meet the urban water demand. So you find the water security index by sub-region. In Central and West Asia, the economic water security is here, 3. In East Asia, the economic water security is around 4. In Pacific, the economic water scarcity and environmental water security is going to be like that. South Asia, economic water scarcity is very high. All others are are going to be in this range. And Southeast Asia, so everywhere you find the economic water scarcity is very high. To take care of this, we need agricultural managers. Now, I classified these people into 6 categories: hydrologist, an irrigation engineer, an agriculture engineer, an agronomist, an agriculture economist, and what one should have, the knowledge for the agriculture management. An hydrologist is interested in rainfall and other water in the catchment or river, water availability point of diversion storage, and water outlet and water the root zone. And hydrologist studies all this. The irrigation engineer studies from water the diversion storage to the outlet. The agriculture engineer from the outlet to the root zone. An agronomist from the root zone to the production. An agriculture economist from the production to the net farmer's value. But you find that if you want a good agriculture managers, you should start from at least from here. You should have an idea about the water available at the point of diversion. You should know the water at the outlet, water in the root zone, production, and the gross value production. So that is what we recommend, that when you study agricultural management, that a person should have at least this type of knowledge. This is one of the best thing that we have found. Now you also find there's a wide gap between the demographic growth and agricultural production. In about 45 countries, as per FAO, the growth of agricultural production is not kept pace with the growth of population. In the arid and semi-arid zones of the world, one of the principles for increasing agricultural production is irrigation. Now we classify into different categories. We say arid, semi-arid regions, variously defined by climatologists. Now, most commonly accepted criteria has been the average rainfall. Areas with less than 200 mm called arid, 200 to 500 is called semi-arid, 500 to 750 mm is called subhumid, and above 70 mm they call humid. Now, this classification is simple, is misleading from the point of irrigation requirements. Then there could be places where the annual rainfall may be well above 70 millimeter, but which will be irrigation due to length of dry season. Long-term average also may be misleading if the climate pattern is irregular. A large individual variation is there. Now, another classification for the purpose of irrigation planning is that an area needs irrigation if that region has every 4 consecutive months, or less than the annual precipitation. So such areas would require supplemental or seasonal irrigation. If the average dry season is greater than 4 months, such areas are classified as arid region, not based on the rainfall, but the average dry season. Such areas could have frequent droughts, so we need to have permanent irrigation system in such places. Now, another definition that we use now is the moisture.
Professor, I'm sorry. Professor, I'm sorry for cutting in. So, can we, could you come to the conclusion in about next 1 to 2 minutes so that we give a chance in next book? Yeah.
So, another definition is moisture index, which expresses the deficiency of average annual precipitation compared to the average monthly potential evaporation. Summed of whole year. If the deficit is 40, defines arid, over 40 arid climate, subclimate. So now, one of the very beautiful graph that we have seen is the irrigation need. So if the total amount of water supply irrigation, we call it number 1. The part of irrigation plant water requirement is given as supplemental is 2. Now, if the total irrigation is given throughout the year and part of the year, or supplementary irrigation could be throughout the year, part of the year, every year in some years. So for all this, 1AX means I must give total irrigation every year, throughout the year, all years. Or 1BY, let's say, total irrigation part of the year in some years. Similarly here, if I give part of the irrigation throughout the year, all years, or part of the, that will be 2AX, or 2BY will be supplemental irrigation part of the in some years. So this is one of the most accepted classification of irrigation need. Now, so the best is if it is 2BY, that means you supply part of the irrigation, part of the year in some years. So any country which comes under this are economically very in a high situation. Whereas if it's from here, you find the country is in an economically bad situation. So for example, 1AX, that is Iraq, Egypt, Western USA, fertile soil, no rain during long summer, May to November, and small amount of winter rainfalls are reliable. So we should make provision for irrigation. 1BX, Philippines, Nigeria, etc. But rains from May to May, December to May, rest of the year, So rest of the year, abundant rainfall, irrigation needed for successful agriculture, dry season. One AY, Australia and India comes there, suffer a similar problem. Highly variable rainfall. 2 BY, the best countries, Holland, England, etc. Crops can be grown with natural rainfall alone, but in 9 out of 10 years, higher yields can be achieved by supplementary irrigation. Now, this is what we call an irrigation management matrix. So there are three important parameters here. On the y-axis, we got water. For water, we have to identify source of water, allocate water for different users, distribute water, and drain the excess water if needed. Then you got a structure that control the water. You have to design the structure, construct the structure, operate the structure, and maintain the structure. Then organization which takes the decisions. We have to mobilize resources, give communication, conflict resolution. So you find there are 64 blocks here. There are 64 decision variables. So each of the, for agriculture management, this is something very important. For example, if you take this box on top, that means here maintenance of the source of water, the decision making regarding that. So decision making regarding the maintenance of the source of water can have 64 decision variables. So this is what we call water management matrix. I just skipped some of this. So let us, that's what I wanted to speak. Yeah, I'll stop here. So data is available, but we need to collect the data and then use it properly. Yep. Yes, please.
Thank you, Professor. We'll come back to, again, as I mentioned, we'll come back to questions on your topic after everyone's done. So again, that was very insightful. Thank you for your insights. I want to Mr. Nikhil Gupta now. So Mr. Nikhil leads AI-enabled digital public infrastructure initiatives at Protean across agriculture, healthcare, and digital identity ecosystems. He currently drives product strategy for India's AgriStack Central Core and has also conceptualized OpenAgriNet, an open source agriculture DPI framework designed for large-scale deployments. So Nikhil, you have proven experience, in digital public goods. What are some key real-world lessons you would like to impart to the audience?
Hope I'm audible. Yeah, okay, thank you. And thanks Vassal Labs for organizing this event on World Environment Day. And thanks for inviting me as a speaker to this webinar. So first of all, I think India has given a lot of DPIs, right, to the world. And one of the most prominent ones is, as we all know, is UPI, which I believe is still like the largest DPI in terms of number of people, number of users that are using it. But when we talk about agriculture in a sense of DPI, it's a bit different world, right? Because in UPI or in financial or fintech world, you need to move the numbers, right? But in agriculture world, you need to actually move physical goods. I think what Mr. Neeraj was also talking about before, there are inputs required, there's output, which is your commodities, and depending on a whole lot of analytics, you provide advisory, right? So creation of a DPI in an agriculture world is, I think, one of the very difficult thing that needs to happen. Second, I believe still the number of users of in terms of farmers, right, who are supposed to be the end users of this DPI, that has yet to scale up. There are fantastic examples in terms of Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, and I think now in Maharashtra also there are certain initiatives that have been taken up by the state governments, and they are slowly picking up as we see in the number of farmers. But how do we need to? So the major question here is, how do we need to approach the design of the DPI or the DPG first, so that when it goes live, when it comes out, the farmers are able to use it. The farmers see real world benefits out of it, and they are able to either we are as in the DPG or the DPI provider are able to solve certain problems for the farmer. So keeping that in mind, I'll also give you two examples on what we are working on currently. So the first one is the India Agri Stack, and as Protean, we have developed the 3 core registries on India Agri Stack, and whenever any state data, and the states are basically collecting their own data, and whenever a farmer data is sent from the state core to the central core, we also generate the deduplicated and a unique farmer ID and give it back to the states, and then that is shared back to the farmers. Apart from these 3 core registries, we also have to understand the whole ecosystem and the requirements. So we have created a sandbox. As you know, in AgriStack, there's a concept of AI use, which is your, in some ways, a data seeker, and AIP, which is your data provider, or the custodian of the data, which is basically the states. So what we have also developed is a sandbox. This sandbox allows the AIUs to come in, test their use cases via anonymized data with replicated APIs in a secure environment. And once we or the ministry has basically analyzed the use cases, then they move to the production environment. Then we have created what we call as a network manager, which is sort of an ERP system, because in this federated data sharing mechanism, there are 3 layers. The first layer is basically the sandbox, wherein you come in and you tell and you showcase a use case. So after at the end of sandbox, you are like an authenticated user for the overall AgriStack ecosystem. In Network Manager, you go ahead and choose or select the APIs or the data that you want to seek from a specific state. So in the step 2 or in the Network Manager, you are able to send this request. So for example, if I'm an agri-tech and I am working on use cases of inputs, so I will go and select Kerala. From the Kerala's list of APIs, I'll select the specific API that matches or suits my needs. Then the Kerala team or the AgriStack team will get that request. They will approve it, and then basically I'll be able to access the data. Now comes the third part, which is once you are in the system, you are able to access the data, and you want very specific farmers data. Then comes the consent manager aspect. Even before the DPDP 2023 rules came into picture, we had designed a consent manager which allows the farmer to approve the request of the specific farmer's data request by the AgriTech or the AI. Now, you would see that there are 3 layers. Initially, it looks like a bit more cumbersome, too many layers, too many approvals in the process. But once this happens, we are able to, from a DPI or a DPG perspective, where we already have 10 crore plus data, data of farmers in the system, we are able to provide secure, pinpointed advisory to a specific farmer. So this is basically the design constraints or the design principles that we have undertaken. And I believe for any DPG or a DPI that has been created not only in the agriculture sector, but across global South or in Southeast Asia, these core principles of federated data structure and federated data sharing mechanism should be followed. And I would be happy to tell you that now we are able to replicate some of our learnings in Africa. So this again, we are developing the AgriStack for the Ethiopia as a country. And there again, we have there's not a federated system, but the data is coming through multiple departments. They also have an ID akin to the Aadhaar ID. And through these multiple departments, we are collating and collecting the data, feeding it into the registries. Then we are first creating a DPG layer for the global South or Africa as a continent. And basis that DPG, we are now creating the first level of DPI for Ethiopia. Even there also, we are now working on 4 specific use cases. One is the AI-based advisory. Second is the access to market, access to credit, and access to inputs. So So these are some of the learnings that I believe we have taken through our journey across India, Ethiopia, in creation of a DPI that helps the farmers at the core level. Thank you.
Thanks, Nikhil. I think we'll all be keeping an eye out, especially on what's happening by Protein in Ethiopia also, to have some learnings from there, which we can definitely take to India. So next we have Dr. C.S. Murthy. Now, Dr. C.S. Murthy is a leading expert in digital and geospatial agriculture and former director of MNCFC under the Department of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. His work has been instrumental in advancing remote sensing, crop monitoring, drought assessment, and geospatial applications in agriculture. He currently, as I mentioned, he currently serves as an advisor and mentor in multiple agri-tech companies and startups working on digital and geospatial agriculture solutions. Dr. Murthy, you have worked across public and private companies. In your experience, what do you see as the key applications that companies should be focusing on that will bring data-centric transformation in the agriculture sector?
So thank you very much. And first of all, let me compliment Team Vassal Labs for organizing a webinar on this very important subject, and also on this very important day for technologies and sciences. And also I thank you for giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts on this important. I think I can agree that India is now witnessing some kind of a digital transformation in agriculture. And that is the most recognized need. The need of the nation to digital transformation in agriculture to meet our goals of income security or food security or climate resilience. That is the nationally recognized need. And it's not much exaggeration if I say that it's the data-centric transformation of agriculture is going to give birth to another green revolution in the country. The first green revolution was seed-centered green revolution, and the upcoming green revolution could be data-centered, resources-centered revolution. Everybody in agriculture sector, they're looking for new data, new forms of knowledge, new tools for informed decision making. Because if you see today's decision making space in agriculture sector, let it be farmers or policy makers, and there are so many players. If you look at decision making space, this space is dominated by manual sources of data and subjective information. This is the biggest space for digital tools to put in. There are a lot of data asymmetry, there are a lot of data gaps, and therefore, what is required is digitalization and datafication of the entire agriculture value chain. And I am pretty confident that, and this is the only way to enhance performance of agriculture. This is mostly recognized by everybody. And it is not very surprising, even today, farmers are ready to embrace the new technologies. They are looking for, because the penetration of smartphones is too high in the country, farmers are very keen to adopt new technologies, new information in their decision-making process. If you say very clearly how this data-centric transformation benefits agriculture, there are many benefits. To mention a few, certainly it enhances farmer services, either insurance, banking, Government of India schemes, enrollments, whatever it is. And then today in India, we need customized farmer advisory system. This digital transformation paves way for highly customized personal advisory system to the farmer. And then crop estimations. And the most important thing is that because of climate change, these things, Indian agriculture has become more and more sensitive. So to integrate them as well, there are two mechanisms. One is the insurance,
Dr.
another
Murthy,
one is the risk transfer.
Dr. Murthy, sorry for cutting in. Your
I exceeded my
internet is. No, you have not exceeded your time. Your internet is breaking a little bit. So some parts are not very clear. Is it possible for you to go closer to a better connection?
Is it okay now?
For now, yes, it is.
Now? Is this okay now? Am I
Your
audible?
voice is audible. Your voice is audible, but your video is frozen actually. And now it's gone.
Can you please confirm?
Sir, your voice is audible. Your video is off.
I think from my side, the net connection is okay.
All right. So
Am
please
I
go
audible
ahead.
now?
You're audible,
Yes.
but voice is
Audible.
broken.
Without it can work. Sir. Without video, it can. Yeah, please. Sir.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead. Murthy, sir, are you saying something? Sir, you are not audible. I think. Okay, let's just give him a minute to join back. Yes.
Am I
Yes,
audible?
Murthy, sir. Yes, you're audible now and we can see you.
Yeah, so these are the benefits of digital transformation. For example, we are talking about the universalization of insurance in agriculture sector by 2047, that is 100% insurance coverage. And this is going to be the biggest beneficiary of the digital transformation or technologies, whatever it is. And then the most important thing is that all the policy makers today are in need of data-driven policies, data-driven and evidence-based policy formulation and policy implementation. So thus there is no doubt that, needless to mention, that this digital transformation is going to benefit agriculture sector in a huge way. But how to realize this system? The most important thing is the data infrastructure. This is a core segment of digital transformation. You know the data types, data in agriculture, there are numerous types. Huge amount of data. This data is completely in silos. There is some qualitative data, subjective data, some kind of biophysical parameters, weather-related variables, so many other variables. So a large number of organizations are involved in data collection system. Today's the biggest gap in the digital ecosystem is that these data collection procedures are not standardized. They are not well organized. And that there are sharing protocols, that most of the data is not in open source. There is inconsistency in the data collection system. There is a big digital divide between the states. Of course, the next important is the data analytics is very, very key. And then, but the data analytics capabilities are growing very fast. There are private sector agencies doing very good work in data analytics. Quickly, I mention the paradox of this digital agriculture in India is that the data-centric technologies and the data analytics, they are progressing very fast. New data sets are coming, and then new techniques, new tools of analysis are coming up. For example, you talk about the geospatial embeddings, which Alpha Earth Google has released. And that is going to change the way you map the thematic features from satellite data. And similarly, the smartphone-based pest scouting, and then picture-based crop insurance system. So while the data and the analytics is progressing very fast, the current today's digital ecosystem is not able to utilize these things up to their potential. This is the core issue. This is the paradox of digital agriculture in India. But how do you bridge this gap? How do you bridge this gap? This is the most important thing. So the only way is that we have to adopt DPI approach. We have to follow DPI principles. So the siloed approach, the fragmentation, siloed approach, this is a systemic challenge. This systemic challenge can be addressed only through the DPI concept and DPI principles. So building DPI for agriculture is the most important requirement to achieve digital transformation in agriculture at a faster pace. Otherwise, it goes in a very, very, very slow phase. So there should be open access data, inclusivity, enhance the data transformations, outreach of the data, building innovations on top of it, and so on. So DPI for agriculture is going to be a game changer. So this is what it has to happen. And some of the agri-tech companies like Vassar Labs, they already started building field-wise or met-wise, some kind of, similarly, there may be some other initiatives from some other companies. Now, lastly, what I say is that, so there should be some policy changes in promoting this DPI building. So we need to go for any PPP model or any other collaborative model. Some kind of institutional mechanism has to be developed. Unless and otherwise we build these DPIs as fast as possible, the full benefits of digital transformation or the fast pace of digital transformation we cannot achieve. That's all. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Murthy sir. That was very enlightening. I think we completely agree with you, especially on many of the points that you've mentioned. Okay, so next we'll move on to our last speaker of this session, Dr. Satyanarayana. So Dr. Satyanarayana leads the SBI Arisa Lab at AgHub, PGTAU, and is actively involved in translating agriculture innovation into field-level impact through technology adoption and ecosystem development. So, sir, what are some of the standout insights from SBI Arisa Lab's work in the agri-DPI space?
Thank you, Ms. Susan and Anjali, Vassar Lab, for roping me into this Agri-DPI webinar at the last moment. So already all the speakers, they spoke about the DPI and all these things. So here Agri-DPI, DPI, Digital Public Infrastructure in Agriculture, generally it refers to shared, open and secure digital foundation. So it typically structured around 3 core pillars, that is core foundational registries, then data platforms and exchanges, then consent managers and sandboxes. So here I will share my screen. Is it visible, ma'am?
Not yet.
Not getting scared, shade.
Is it visible?
Not yet, Doctor. Can you try again? Yes, now it's loading.
Yeah.
Yes, we can see it.
The Agri-DPI, generally it structured typically around 3 core pillars. So they are core foundational registries, then data platform exchanges, then consent managers and sandboxes. These three core pillars. So it will be around this. So first, the key components, if you see here, the digital identity layer. So that is the identity is the foundation for the knowing who is the farmer, who is farming, and what they are cultivating. So that is the core these things. Here, the unique identification of the farmers, land parcels, and farm assets are important here. Then second one is data exchange layer, interoperability. So that is data should flow seamlessly across platforms to create value here. So here the sharing the agriculture data across system is important. So here we have to break the silos between the departments, startups, and institutions. That is the core of these things. So this enables a real-time, so API-based data flow. The third one is data infrastructure layer. So here, so good decisions depends on the good data from farm to cloud. So here, the sources include in the data infrastructure, the IoT sensors, satellite-based imaginary, field surveys, historical data. So all these things, it is included in this. Then fourth one, application and service layer. The farmer-facing solutions here, the advisory apps, the crop, pest, and the nutrition, all these things, advisories it requires. Then market linkage is also important, ENAM, ONDC, and all these things. So credit and insurance platforms, here also it involves in that. So this is where data becomes a decision for farmers. So these key components, so another one is payment and financial layer. So here financial inclusion is critical for scaling impact. So here integration with DBT, UPI, agri-financing systems, so which enables direct benefit transfers, digital payments, credit access to the farmers. Then last one is governance and consent layer. This is the most important. Trust is the backbone of any digital public infrastructure. So it ensures the data privacy and farmers' consent, secure and ethical data usage. Here it is. So builds the trust in the ecosystem. So here the Agri DPI is not just technology. It is an ecosystem where identity, data, platforms, and services come together to deliver value directly to farmers at scale. So these key components. So here how Agri DPI works. So here data collection is the foundation layer. So data collection generated generally from multiple sources, IoT sensors, soil moisture sensors, soil nutrient sensors, weather, and all these things. Then satellites and drones also involved in that, where the crop health, so acreage and all these things it comes in. Field surveys and farmers inputs also it involves in this. Here, everything begins with the reliable, continuous data from the field that is required here. So which provides the real-time ground level insights from this data collection, it is one. Then integration and exchange. So here data integrated into interoperable platforms. So AgriStack. So here Agri DPA connects the fragmented data into unified ecosystem. So that is the one. Then next, the data processing and analytics is important here. Data becomes intelligence through analytics. That is here. So the AI/ML models comes here into the for analyzing crop conditions, pest and disease risks, weather parameters, and all these things. And here it converts data into actionable intelligence. The next one is service delivery, application layer, this one. So right information reaches the right farmers at the right time. That is most important here. Here all these insights are delivered. So through the mobile apps, SMS, IVR systems, FPOs, and extension networks in the state. So here it enables timely advisories and decisions to the farmers. The next comes to the financial and market integration. Generally, it is linked.
Seems we have a lot of issues today. Sir, can you hear us?
Am I audible, madam?
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah.
Now you're audible.
Just power outage. So that's why it said, okay. So if I am audible, so I will continue with that. Is it, madam, audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible. You may continue.
The financial and market integration. So here it from advice to income. DPI completes the value health. So value chain also it is included. Then last one, the feedback and continuous improvement it's required here. So here the Agri DPI is a continuous learning system. So that as all we accept here. Then the Agri DPI, so it transforms agriculture from reactive to predictive and from fragmented to integrated one. So this the Agri DPI. So here what are the benefits? As you all know, improved productivity and efficiency. It is there. Better market access, reduced transaction. So enhance the transparency and trust and all these things. It is so we can see from this. So how the role of innovation platforms. So which is like SBI Arisa lab can do in this DPI. So it acts as a ground level implementation hub, the Agri, the SBI Arisa lab in the Agri DPI system. It demonstrating the real world use cases of DPI into the system. And it is bridging the gap that is research, it is and technology and the farmers. So it is bridging these three: research, technology, and farmers. So here the SBI Arisa lab so translates DPI into real impact on the ground. So what we are taking up this. So the Agri DPI, if you see that Agri DPI transform agriculture into connected, intelligent, and farmer-centric ecosystem in this. So that driving the India's next growth engine. So when you come to the SBI Arisa, so SBI Arisa, as you see, the SBI Foundation has given CSR funds for establishing this AI, robotics, and IoT for smart agriculture. So this lab, when we envisaged last year, so when we are thinking of agriculture, whatever technology we are taking into the farmers field, where the farmers are not taking. So here the lot of problems are the labor security, aging farmers, not agriculture is remunerative, so environmental depleted groundwater and all these things. So there are so many problems are there in the agriculture. So the integration with digital technology is the only the solution. So we thought, and we have submitted the project, and we got CSR fund from the SBI Foundation, and we started this. So for this openings, the chairman Srinivasulu Setti sir, he came and opened this lab. So on the December 12th of last year, and we have initiated all these things. So I think our PPT is not visible, I think.
Sir, it's visible, but just a time check. Can you, we need to wrap your section up within 2 minutes.
Okay, so briefly I will tell about, is it visible, our the PPT?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, so I will skip this the video, brief video, because how the lab is established and all these things. So our objectives and all these things, it is there. This is the core, the theme of our SBI ARISA. So we are acquiring the data from the field conditions through the drones and robots, and also the IoT sensors, the field sensors we are keeping, and we are taking the data into the server. From the remote sensing, also we are taking, because we have the RSGS lab in the university, and also we have the Agromet lab and the market intelligence lab. All these things we are taking the data, and we are integrating into the AI optimized server, and we are doing AI ML, and we are so giving the decision to the farmers. So how to the crop production and crop protection, all these things. So when you are going for visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible. We can see the data acquisition to data integration to data-driven decision slide.
Next slide is coming, madam.
We're still on the previous slide, which is on the data flow.
Data flow, it is there.
It's okay,
visible
sir.
now?
I think it's loading.
Is it visible now?
Yes, yes. We can see the spraying and the weeding machine.
Yeah, in brief, yeah. So here, this is our lab where we have the four lab facilities are there. Then AI lab, IoT lab, robotics lab, and the live demonstration space in the lab, in the premises itself. We have the data center, GPU server is there. Then we have AI lab where we are doing all the data into that, integrating an AI ML. Then we are so image processing also we are doing, and robotics bay also we have there. So we have the robots and the drones in the lab, and we are using in the field conditions. And this is the ground robo customized for small and marginal farmers, wherein we can take it to the directly the farmers field, and we have demonstrated this. And so sprayer, and this is our field where we have demonstrated and farmers, and we have given training to the farmers also. So this is our robo, so where the crop monitoring we are taking up and taking images and sending it to the server, and image processing we are doing that. And the aerial robots we have there for taking the images and spraying also. So in our field, we have the facilities where we have demonstrated to the farmers, and images also we are taking. And IoT lab is also there, wherein we have different sensors, weather station, real-time nutrient monitoring, and portable soil testing devices, where we can take it directly to the farmers and taking into the lab directly. So here weather station where so we have kept this in the field conditions. This weather station, it covers the 2 kilometers radius weather data, and also pest also it is taking and sending images to the lab directly from this center. So images and data, so we are processing here, and we are processing the images of the insects, and we are processing, and we are giving the what is that alert to the farmers where the pest is increasing or decreasing, all these things, whether it needs the spraying or all these things, we are giving it the alert to the farmers. These are the sensors we have kept in the field conditions, soil moisture and nutrient sensors. And from this, we are getting data direct to the lab, and we are showing it to the farmers, and we are connecting directly the sensor data to the mobiles also. So we have the open field conditions net house. So we have demonstrated and we have started this automatic irrigation system. Then
So, Doctor, we can see that the lab
We'll
has
see.
done a lot in the agri initiatives. It's amazing to
farmers
see all
training
the.
also. Farmers trainings we have done. We have trained the students also, 100 students, and also official visits also there in this. And so this is in brief about our lab. So where the people can visit and take first-hand information from this.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you,
yeah,
Susan.
it's great to see, how much the SBI RISA lab is doing with all the very high, advanced technologies. So, so thank you everyone firstly for sharing your valuable insights. I think a few common themes that emerge in today's discussion is that, as Professor just said also, that DPI is not just about technology. It's about creating interoperable ecosystem. There are multiple players involved. It's important for policies also to really shape up this whole ecosystem if it's going to be successful. Technologies such as AI, geospatial intelligence, IoT will be critical enablers of the next generation agriculture services. Collaboration between government, academia, industry, and startups is essential. And the ultimate measure of success will be how effectively these systems are adopted and also how they improve the outcomes for farmers. And at Vassal Labs, we strongly believe that data, AI, and digital infrastructure can bridge the gap between information and action. Again, as I mentioned, through platforms such as FieldWise and our broader climate tech solutions. We continue to work towards enabling data-driven decision-making, and we also hope to really partner with all the speakers who are on this session in delivering more targeted and targeted advisories to the farmer and the broader ecosystem. So now I'll just, I think maybe 5 minutes we can spend on questions, Steve. Yeah, we'll just give 5 minutes to questions. Are there any questions in the chat? Okay, so I will just read out the Q&A which was actually sent. So one is, yeah, so I'm just going through. So actually this was a question to Rajesh sir. Is he still here on the call? So sir, there's a question on how are we linking supply chain in Kathir to government and private players. Would you like to answer that?
Sure. Am I audible now? Sure. Qatar
Yes, you are.
actually looking into a new marketing chain in the state. Actually, the traditional marketing chains are not quite enough to, aggregate the small produce produced by the scattered small holding farmers in Kerala. Of course, the buyers in Kerala who want to procure in large quantity are not being supplied with the small farmer groups or farmers in Kerala. So Qatar actually proposes a state nodal agency, nodal platform, where the e-business meet happens between the farmer and the buyer. E-business meet means the farmers in Kerala are declaring the crop in Qatar. So a state nodal agency or the buyer who are coming in the Qatar knows the thing that this much quantum of produce is being cultivated in the state. So the agency can directly contact the farmers through the agency of directly whatever it is and can collect the produce from the farmer. The reverse thing also happens. That a buyer who want to procure this much amount of produce from a different farmers who makes an announcement through the Qadr, which means that farmers can plan their crop based on the requirement placed by the different buyers in the state. So a demand-driven marketing system can be implemented in the state. This is actually developed in Qatar. We are in the process of getting different government approvals for the state because this is not a pre-existing system. So what happens is that here the limitation of small land holdings with the smaller producers with the farmers are being overcome with the state nodal agency concept by the government. So here, what the biggest benefit of the buyer is that you are getting produce from the farmers who has been verified by the government. In a large view over the India, the contract farming is also there. So a multinational company will be making a contract with the farmer. That is the contract between two private entities. What here happens is that a farmer is being certified by a government. So farmer is being certified by the government agency, and there the buyer can make the point of trust with the buyer. So that is the main advantage of the marketing system which is being developed in Qatar. We hope that will be will create a bigger impact in the future days. The government has also already announced a marketing policy for the state of the agricultural inputs. We have actually created a brand for Kerala also. We call that Kerala Grow. So what we have done is that government has created a brand of Kerala Grow where the producers, the value-added products and the raw materials produced by the farmers can market the produce or the value-added products using the brand name created by the government. So those are the farmers or the farmer producing organizations which has been created by the government. So which means that we are actually overcoming the earlier mentioned limitation of small holdings with the concept of digital marketing and a structured digital marketing system. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajesh sir. Another question, and I'd leave this maybe to Nikhil or anyone other speakers who want to add in. So this question, what are the scopes for any agri startup to access the data from AgriStack?
Yeah, actually, great question. I think this is something that a lot of people are waiting for. It's totally dependent on the policy of the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare. It's been worked upon, I think, because it's so much of sensitive data for the farmers. The ministry has been cautious on allowing the access. So selective access to governmental use cases is already open, and I think ministry will soon decide on access to private companies and organizations in agritechs. So that is something I think once it is out there, you will all hear that in the news. And just to share, just yesterday only, AgriStack India has won a National E-Governance Award from the ministry.
Thanks, Nikhil. There is one question on SBI Arisa. So maybe I think this is a question on whether if they have been associated with any example for district. Yes.
So the question is the associated with the labs. So we are associated with the different firms also. And here we are working in close ties with the Delta IoT systems and Navriti Foundation and Exmissions. So they are working in the robos, IoT systems, all these things. We are customizing so their products in our lab and in our field conditions and taking it to the small and marginal farmers. And also, so we are collaborative research with the IIT Hyderabad. So the students are doing, and the people are coordinating with that, NIT Warangal. So these connections are there, and we are taking up research because recently we have started. And so in these 6 months, we have connected all these things with our PG students and our lab scientists to the different organizations, and we are fine tuning all the technologies and the demonstrated technologies. So examples, they are saying that. So here in our lab itself, we have 5 acres land, and we have demonstrated in these past 6 months, we have taken up 2 crops, and we have installed all these digital tools, and we have shown it to the more than 250 farmers, and we have trained them, one-day training, and we have given 50 farmers selected from all over the Telangana 3 days training in the digital tools. So how to operate, how to do that, how it works, and all these things we have given that. And we have taken these technologies to the 100 students, and we have given internships also in this lab, and they are trained in that. So now, here in this season, the coming season, we are taking all these technologies to the farmers field. So farmers field where we are piloting all these technologies so that farmers should convince, and they should know about all these things, and we are going to the farmers. So not only in the university, so directly we are demonstrating in the farmers field in the next season. So that is there on the cards. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Maybe for more information also with respect to your with respect to the research and the POCs, you can drop your email if you'd like on the chat, so the team can reach out to you for more information on that. So in the interest of time, I'm going to take only this one last question. I think this is for Mr. Neeraj. So there is significant excitement around AI in agriculture today. And there's a lot of talk also about it. Murthy sir was saying something similar, but which, at least from Google, which do you believe are, generally ready to scale today, and which are still, in an experimental phase where you're still looking at, what the outcomes are going to be?
I wish I had a direct answer to that question. No, I'll make an attempt to answer. I think, look, the way to think of it is if you look at AI as an enabler. If you don't look at it, in fact, I think this applies to many other technologies as well. Very much so in case of AI, because the technology is still developing. There are new use cases coming as we speak. I think what is important is to focus on, what are the proven technologies, what are the proven solutions that AI can make it easier for farmers to access. And I think that is the bridge which I think is more proven, which is something that AI can really help farmers do more easily. So today, with a very high level of reliance, AI can understand many different languages, including many Indian languages. It can combine that language understanding with the intent, with identity, along with the farmer's consent, and then really look up what are the best possible solutions that are available from across many different providers, and surface that back to the farmers. I think that also combines DPI and AI very beautifully. That is a part where I think AI can work very reliably today and make it much more convenient for farmers to access either information or transactions or services that they are trying to get access to.
Yes, thank you. I think we at Vassal Labs has seen that when we made one generative AI application with respect to translation services, that has seen quite a bit of interest in farmers. And I think, as Murthy sir and several others have said, that farmers are interested. They do want to access it. It's just about making it simpler for them to really access these services, and that's where these translation capabilities will come in. So with that, I think we'll end this webinar session since we've already gone across time. Again, I'd really like to thank all the speakers who've taken their time to provide their valuable insights to us on, this World Environment Day, which is again significant since we're all coming from the agriculture space. We look forward to see what all of you will also be continuing within the scope of your research and work, and all what your organizations will also be updating with. For those of you who still have questions, you can reach out directly to the speakers or send your questions to us, and we will send these questions to the speakers and get their answers sent to you. Again, thank you, everyone. Thank you for the attendees also for joining this session. I hope you got some valuable insights from it.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Vassal Labs.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.